Welcome students. Today's topic is on diagnostic design. In the last class, we have been talking about descriptive design and the importance of the design. I also explained to you how we conduct a descriptive design in a social setting. This class is on diagnostic design. While descriptive designs portray the characteristics of particular situation, group or community, the diagnostic studies are those research investigations that relate to testing a variable. For instance, a study on immigrant population and their life pattern describes the whole situation. This is part of descriptive design. In diagnostic design, apart from these explanations, certain variables are studied thoroughly in order to prove how and why these factors occur. For example, such studies of migrant communities in USA that explain their lifestyle seeks to diagnose out certain variables like education and duration of stay as variables contributing for that type of living pattern. The whole procedure of diagnostic design should be accurate and carefully planned so that it could find out or diagnose the reasons for events. In many respects, both descriptive and diagnostic designs share common features, but a few important differences have to be explained. Those differences are difference in field, difference in hypothesis, difference in objectives, difference in treatment. The first difference is difference in field. In the case of descriptive studies, efforts are made just to explain the situation, but in diagnostic design, the existing social issues are given priority and causal relationships are explained. The research suggests diagnostic actions. A study on illness behavior, for example, is a descriptive study, while a diagnostic study explains why there is variation in behavior among different economic groups or gender. The second one is difference in hypothesis. Framing a hypothesis is not essential in a descriptive design, but in the case of diagnostic studies, formulation of a hypothesis is a definite criteria. The hypothesis is to be proved or disproved. In the beginning of the research, we frame a hypothesis in the case of diagnostic studies. That is, at the end of the research, that particular hypothesis should be proved or disproved. That is the essential feature of diagnostic studies. The third one is difference in objectives. The descriptive studies aim to describe the situation just for the sake of knowledge, but the diagnostic designs are proposed to find out a solution to a problem. For example, if a riot is investigated to describe the behavior of a mob, then it comes under descriptive study, because besides describing the situation and also the behavior of the mob, it has no other purpose, whereas a diagnostic study aims to explain the situation with the causes and the possible remedies, like diagnosing out communal instigation as the cause and also suggesting a legal or social solution to it. Here, finding out the cause and suggesting a solution, both are equally important than just describing the situation. The fourth difference is difference in treatment. In diagnostic studies, the factors giving rise to problems are given focus, while no such special treatment is given in descriptive studies. These are the differences between the descriptive and diagnostic studies that one should understand. Now, I will start with the next important design, which we call as exploratory or formulative design. In the case of exploratory studies, unlike the descriptive design, the researcher has minimum knowledge about the issue at hand. He wants to explore the issue or situation in order to get more familiarity and more information on it. Exploratory designs have the aim of formulating a problem for more precise investigation. Exploratory studies help in developing hypotheses and also to clarify concepts. Sociological theories are often too specific or too general, and for young social scientists, there is room for exploration of social events or issues with the background of these theories and their concepts. For example, the theories of suicide or social conflict could be used for further exploration in a different social setup when the researcher is interested in obtaining insight into social event. That is, the theory of suicide or theories on conflict could have been used by different sociologists at different places under different circumstances, but still the same theory could be applied by a young researcher to find out its application in a new situation, in a new place and in a new circumstances. In that way, the exploratory design could make use of the existing social theories. For instance, investigation on female infanticide calls for exploratory design. The investigator in this research has to find out various causes that are responsible for it and also the most important variables that contribute for female infanticide. This type of exploratory research has to adopt certain procedures so that the work could be carried out smoothly. We will see all those steps that are involved in exploratory design. Those steps are the goals of exploratory research, reviewing of related literature, experience survey and the analysis of insight stimulating cases. The first one is to fix the goals of exploratory research. Now, I will point out the goals of exploratory research. They are to determine the accuracy of a principle or theory, to find out which compelling explanation is better, to advance knowledge about an underlying process, to link different issues under a common general statement, to build a theory so that it becomes complete, to extend a theory into new areas or issues, to provide evidence to support or refute an explanation or prediction. The second part of exploratory design consists of review of related literature. Having formulated the research topic, the investigator must review the work done on related topics by others. This will help him build up his work more firmly and also help him to economize his efforts in the inquiry. To begin with, one might feel that search of literature on the same topic is time consuming and no significant study had been done earlier, but still he has to search for relevant material in journals, books and abstracts. Some of the sources of information are books that are already published, bulletins, journals, documentation in public administration, Indian Agricultural Index, Indian Education Index, ICSSR research abstracts, quarterlies, Indian Behavioral Science Abstract and government publications. The third step in exploratory design is experience survey. Review of literature gives only the basic knowledge on the issue. It is the beginning of the formulative research. Written work is a small portion of the existing knowledge. There are people who have really experienced the situation or observed an event taking place. These people have not only observed things taking place, but they have been part of the event itself. So, they have a very good experience in the event and also they know about the people who were involved in that event. They are also rich sources of information. For example, in the study of female infanticide, the local people, women who perform the killing and also the mother who is involved in it can also supply plenty of information on the issue. Similarly, for any research topic, such specialists acquire a reservoir of experience and of immense value to social scientists. Information should be gathered through them and used for the research. In all fields and in all societies, there are many persons with rich knowledge and first-hand experience on a particular problem. It is important that researchers should use these sources for their research. At this point of research, there is the question of mode of selecting such respondents with real experience, and therefore, the researchers should take care in selecting the people from whom they are collecting direct experience. In diagnostic research, the interest is to analyze what variable is actually more important rather than to give an accurate picture of a practice or event, which is the focus point of descriptive design. Hence, the persons who are involved in the phenomena should be carefully selected. Conducting interviews or studies with people who are not involved in the event is a waste of time and irrelevant for the research being conducted. Good and useful informants must be chosen to gather information. Hence, random sampling may not be useful for experience survey. For instance, for an issue on emotional problems of sons of chronic alcoholic fathers, the researcher has to make a search for such sons. This is in a way a purposive sampling. We cannot go for random sampling for this kind of research. After selecting the experienced respondents, it is necessary to conduct interviews with them. Unstructured interviews and structured interview schedules must be framed to conduct systematic interviews with the informants. It is essential to maintain a considerable degree of flexibility as the researcher is not fully familiar with the field. Next part is the analysis of insight stimulating cases. Other than the experience survey, the investigator should select a few important cases which would supply him with enormous amount of information, experience and stimulate insights. Sigmund Freud's insights to the psychological problems were stimulated by intensive study of his cases. We all know that Sigmund Freud is a psychoanalyst. He had cured many patients who came with psychological disturbances rather than physical problems. Many of his findings, especially on dream analysis, are based on insight stimulating cases only. Stimulation of insights in the mind of the researcher depends on three other factors. Firstly, the attitude of the researcher must be highly favorable. He must be receptive and alert to acquire knowledge and find out facts. Secondly, the intensity of the study of the problem. The culture, the community or the event may be examined thoroughly several times, taking note of all the concerned factors. Thirdly, getting insights relies on the integrative power of the researcher. The researcher should possess the capacity to gather many diverse bits of information into an unified interpretation. Therefore, exploratory design is to gain insight into a problem and to frame hypothesis. It involves many steps as I explained to you now. Okay students, I am sure that now you know the differences between different designs of sociological studies. The first design is descriptive design, which has just the aim to describe an event or a community. The second design, which is a diagnostic design, tries to give a solution to a problem. The third one is exploratory design, which has many steps and which has a definite aim to find out the causal relationship between different variables. Now, I will sum up. First, I explained to you the differences between the diagnostic and descriptive study. Those differences are difference in field, difference in hypothesis, difference in objectives, difference in treatment. After completing this, I started with the exploratory or formulative design. In the beginning, I explained to you the goals of exploratory research, followed by few more steps that come under exploratory design. Those steps are reviewing of related literature, experience survey and the analysis of insight stimulating cases. Now students, I will pose few questions to you. The first question: what are the differences between descriptive and diagnostic design? 2. What are the goals of exploratory research design? Third one, elaborate the various steps to be followed under exploratory design. Okay students, we will meet in the next class. Till then, bye.